The museum approved the artwork. That does not mean it goes straight onto a gallery wall. First come contracts, insurance, transportation, condition reports, photography, database records, and a number that may stay with the object for the rest of its institutional life. Welcome to Art Money. Subscribe for the business behind art. Here's what actually happens after a museum says yes. Approval is permission to proceed, not proof of ownership. The museum still needs a signed purchase agreement or deed of gift, clear transfer of title, payment or donation records, and any required restrictions documented in writing. Staff preserve invoices, correspondence, provenance research, images, and legal records. The physical object matters, but a museum acquisition also becomes a permanent file proving how and why it entered the collection. Next, the work has to travel. Staff may coordinate art handlers, custom packing, a crate, climate controls, insurance, security, and a vehicle appropriate to the object. A large sculpture and a fragile drawing create completely different risks. When the work arrives, it may be quarantined or inspected before storage. Even a short trip can require more planning than the original purchase meeting. Before the museum fully accepts the object, a registrar or conservator records its condition. They note cracks, losses, stains, repairs, weak supports, surface changes, and anything else that could matter later. Photographs create a baseline. If damage appears after shipping or during a loan, staff can compare the object with that record. The condition report turns careful looking into evidence the institution can use. Then the object is accessioned, formally added to the permanent collection. A registrar assigns a unique number and connects it to the museum's database. That record can include the artist, title, date, materials, dimensions, credit line, provenance, location, rights information, condition, and related documents. The number looks ordinary, but it is how the institution keeps one object connected to its identity and history. An acquired work may remain in storage for years. Gallery space is limited, displays rotate, and light can damage sensitive materials. Some objects are collected for research, future exhibitions, loans, or a long-term story the museum is still building. Storage is not supposed to mean forgotten. A well-managed collection keeps the work locatable, protected, documented, and available for legitimate institutional use. Once accessioned, the museum assumes ongoing responsibilities: environmental monitoring, pest control, security, conservation, inventory, photography, research, rights management, and safe handling. Staff may lend the work, publish it, digitize it, or reinterpret it as scholarship changes. The true cost of acquisition unfolds over time. Buying the object may take months. Caring for it can become part of the museum's work for generations. So what happens after a museum buys art? Ownership is documented, the object is transported and examined, a registrar creates its permanent identity, and the museum begins the much longer work of stewardship. Acquisition does not promise constant display, it promises responsibility. Subscribe to Art Money and watch the next episode, where we explain why so much of a museum's collection stays out of public view. Art Money, the business behind the art.